Hello. So I'm going to go ahead and sculpt the base shapes of the head out of the sphere. We'll see how long this goes. I'm going to try and keep this video fairly short. So as you can see, I have a primitive right here of a sphere. I'm going to go in and reduce the number of polygons on this for this first stage. Okay, don't like the way that came out. That is quite lame. There we go. That will work just a little bit better. That's what works. Awesome. Alright. So, I have my reference open. I'm going to use that as a guide. First thing I'm going to be doing is, let's see if this will work for me this time. It will not. Alright. Back to the other one. So, I'm going to go ahead and squish this in. Like so. Okay, so this will kind of dictate how thick my head is going to be. So from the side, I'm going to push this up and in a bit. Okay, here, I'm going to push this down and out. So it looks kind of like a helmet. That's kind of what I'm kind of going for. We'll give you my overall shape. Okay, push this in just a little bit. There we go. In the back, I'm going to go in and decide that this needs to come in, because that's where the ears are going to be sitting. So I want to make sure that that's there, and it also helps where the jawline needs to go. So I can move this over, I can move this over, straighten out the jawline a bit. Now the jawline should be in the middle of the head, okay? And the highest point of this should also be slightly in the middle of that too. Why is this so fucking? There we go. Yeah, looks nice. Awesome. Okay, so let's bring this up a little bit more. Okay, see there's a little bit of look for where the chin's going to be. Shape the end of it. There we go. Nice chin line. Awesome. In the middle of the head, I'm going to go ahead and do a pull to indicate where the eyes are going to be. You can already go in and pull this up a bit. And push this up a bit. Here. Okay. Now, I know that this needs to come down. Okay, as you can see, it's already pulling on the side here, which is awesome because that's going to be dictating where our side plane is for the head. Now you can see. Okay. So now we look from the top. We can see that right about where the curve happens, we have this break, which I can go in and slightly readjust. It's a little strong. And we can go in and we can either try and smooth this out, sometimes it works, to get that plane in for the side of the head, which in this case it did, it's awesome. But it did a little too much, because we can see right where the break of where I've indicated where the eyebrow is going to be, it's happening beforehand, which in this case this dude doesn't have that. So we can either undo, just do this side right here, and then move it out of it. Now, please keep in mind that right here on the middle line, where the ear is going to come together, where it's going to pass from one side of the to the other side of the head, if you smooth this out or indent this, then your head will be starting to curve in too drastically, and it will not make it look the way you want it to. Okay. So this guy has fairly dominant cheek line, so I want to represent that. So I can come in, I can just pull right here before I do anything else. I can drop that down a bit. Then we can see more of the curve of the planar shape is indicating overall measurements of this. Okay, now I'm going to have to subdivide to get more detail into this, but as a whole, you already have a pretty decent start. This needs to come forward. There we go. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so here we have our start. One thing that you can do when you're at this stage is you can start measuring if you want to, but it's a little too early, in my opinion. But what's not too early is adding in a cylinder. This thing right here, this one, and going ahead and blocking out your ear. Okay. So, and this can be done for stylized or for realistic. I like having the ear as a separate piece just so that I have something to look at while I'm doing what I'm doing, so that it completes the overall picture of what I'm trying to do. And this can be adjusted later on as well. It's not that crucial at this stage, but it does help with overall placement of certain items. Okay, so we'll go here. Okay, just get the overall shape of your ear down. It does not have to be perfect right this second. Here I'm trying to make it perfect because I am a weirdo. Sure, for right now, that is amazing. And if you look, it is almost the size that we need. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to push this in, rotate that out. Probably get a little bit of an angle. Okay, now the ear should be sitting, if you do it right, should be behind the jawline, right here. Okay, so middle of the head, that should be separated. And the angle of the ear is dictated by your jawline. So either A, come in and straighten this out, or B, angle the ear to go with the jawline. Okay, and then we can slightly adjust this a bit. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mirror that over, just so that it doesn't look as funky. Awesome. Okay, back to our skull. So, one quick subdivide, and now we can see we have a lot of our shapes already there, which is wonderful for us. Some things need to be cleaned up a bit, as we can see, so we're going to slightly adjust these a bit. At this stage, it's also good to go in and draw in your landmarks. So I'm going to have the pen V shape coming down. There's this step right there. Here. And we can already see that I don't have a muzzle. Okay, so I did all this work and did not add that in there. Now we can go in with the move tool and do it, or I can go in, mask this off, invert, grab my tool, and move that out of it. Okay, now when we look, We have an extra muzzle shape and some more room for the nose, which is going to help us out a lot. Alright, so some quick reshaping, and we will move on. I did it again. It does not like this tool for some. Let go. Like that. This section right here should be running right here to the middle of the ear, so some of this needs to come in a little bit. Some of this needs to come in a little bit. We can move this over so that it slightly overlaps. Okay. And since the nose is pointed down, okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab this section right here and pull that. Move that down as well. Okay, double checking on the overall micro shape, so jawline is a little thick, that's okay for right now. We'll want to make sure that we have enough room right here, okay. We can see that this is just totally collapsing on us, so going in and adjusting that at this stage is also cool. You can do it at a later stage as well. But if we look, most of our shapes are going in the right direction. We'll see. And this dude has a frown to him. Let's go ahead and adjust that. Go ahead and as you can see, we're already getting this nice arc to our face line. Okay, some of these sections are a little jagged. That's cool. We can very easily manipulate that. Already. Now, if you look, his nose is coming straight down. That means that this angle and that angle should line up. If they don't, so I can move that in just a bit. There we go. We're going to have that going in the same direction. Come in and increase some of the jawline shape over here. Okay. So now if it calls for that the face needs a little bit longer or a little shorter, that's still doable at this stage. What I am going to do is I'm going to give him, instead of more of a straight, I'm going to give him a little bit more of an angular front section right there. There we go. It just reads a little nicer. So for our big shapes, pretty much there. This was short and painless for that. Okay. And if you wanted to widen the jawline a bit, go. This is reading a little too flat for me, a little angled, so coming in onto the side, double checking. The head as a whole is a little too thick for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this section right here, right tool. Yeah, that feels better to me. Now we have to do the same thing with the ears, because that's kind of there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the head again. So, I'm going to give myself a little bit more subdivisions now. But we can see that all of our big shapes are here. Okay, there's still some lumps and bumps that need to be ironed out, and that's totally fine. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I'm going to double check my eyebrows, or my eyebrow line. See how it's going straight back? That's not going to help us on our 3/4. Okay? Since he has a very sharp brow line, I want to make sure that I get that. So right about here, this is going to be right before that break happens. I'm going to pull and tug on this and even this back out. Intensify that. But now if I look to the side, we have that nice brow line going. Okay. So we have enough subdivisions to go in and adjust. That's what I do. To go in, get some of these shapes down, change this angle right there. We can literally go in and draw on a model and get some of these shapes down. Okay, we can go in and draw in some of these harder shapes. We can sketch in real quick where we want the lips and such to go. But for the most part, we need more subdivisions for that, so I'm going to leave that alone. And we can see this nice curvature going right there, and that our chin, our cheekbone needs to have a little bit more point to them, so we got it here. And start preempting that. Okay, so at this point we should be able to get 90% of all of our big shapes in, for it to look as close as we can to our reference. So why are you not work before? As you can see, we're getting kind of closer. Our brow line is getting closer to where it needs to be. It needs to have a little bit of a droop right here. Actually, bring this up, push that in a bit. And all I'm trying to do is get this nice plane in, which I need to do with a different tool. So as you can see here, I'm actually using the skull shape to bring in, to translate some of those shapes that we don't see in order to get our overall tones down. Using the dating standard to go in and so I like to preemptively draw in where my eyebrows are going to be, at least the bottom edge of it. So when I look at my model, I know what needs to change and what doesn't need to change. And two, I can also see if my brow line is running correctly on the 3/4. So this is going to be. I know that my 3/4 line still needs to have a little bit more oomph to it, so I'm going to put that in. I know that some of this needs to be curved in a bit, Okay, we have a little bit of a predominant jawline. There we go, yes. So he has a little bit more of a sunken in face because of the indicators for that are the cheekbone section right here, that sharp drop-off line. Also, the amount of space between the nose and the cheekbone. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have enough room for that. We already have some of these shapes where they should be. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit more of a, oops, So what I just did was I preemptively decided, because I know where the eyebrows are, where the middle of the eye is going to be, to bring in a corner to get those lip shapes in. Okay. We can also see that the nose need to be a little wider towards the bottom. Widen that in. Okay. Let's go ahead and move that a bit. And then I'll be working with this triangle shape. Head, grab the trim indicator part down. Even out this area right here. Due to his extreme shapes, this area will be a little bit more flatter than usual. Okay, so we can see that. We can see these lines are almost matching. Okay, we can see we have this nice curve that's also indicated the strong jawline that we had before. Okay. Now, one thing I'm going to do a little bit preemptively, since I already have some of the shapes, is this U shape at the bottom. Okay, it needs to run across here. Okay, go ahead and put that in now, so that at higher subdivision levels I don't have to work as hard to get these shapes in. So now we have this nice break that helps indicate the shape. We have our jawline, our cheek line, which in this particular case his cheek line is still kind of tiny, so I can either A, knock it down, or B, move this a bit. So I'm going to move it again. Move this up a bit. See, now we got it. Awesome. And now we can go in and readjust everything underneath along the 3/4 in order to get that nice drop off that we're seeing overall in our reference. So a little more sharper, yes. Awesome. Okay. So now we just need to clean this area up right here, because that's still not right. What we still have to do is this overlay or overlapping meet here, and we can go ahead and break up this weird shape. Now here's where you need to look at your reference and see what highlight is on the forehead. Some of them are squared and soft. Some of them are square lined or even U-lined. In this particular case, I'm going to bring this forward just a bit in order to get a better highlight. So if we grab right here, tug, we can change the way that the highlight is running on the forehead, especially if I use the right brush. There we go. So we're getting this nice section right here. If we needed to, we can start indicating a little bit more things. I'm going to go ahead and give myself more space back here. So right next to the nose is the deepest part of the eye, so I should not be able to see it from the side. But we also have to still put in the nose, the eyes. So we can indicate the bridge of the nose, and we can indicate a couple more items with the bottom of the nose, how far it's going to be going out, where it's going to be making contact, that type of thing. The other thing that would be a good idea to put in now is the break of the nose. So we can see that No, this might have been a little too early. So now we can see top part, bottom part of the nose, and if we needed to readjust something, we could do it here. We can subdivide up, do it there. But we can see that the tip part of the muzzle is giving us a little bit of a high-low type of thing, and I don't like that. So we can change it here. I'm going to go in and add this small break that is needed for balance and moving. It's going to help clean up some of it. We can indicate top a little bit. This will help us also clean up some of these shapes. And that just went up on that. So some stuff it's better to wait for a higher subdivision level. Some stuff you can rough in and then fix later. Like this. Okay. If we look, we have this downward angle. We have a downward angle, that's cool. We can still adjust this a little bit more in order for this to look more correct or closer to the reference. And then just moving that down. Okay, he has a little bit of a scorched earth thing going, so we can decide to put that in. The other thing that we can do is thin out the in-between section here, because that's going to really dictate what our nose looks like. Right here, we'll have this blend section, so I can go in and I can breathe here as well. As we can see, we're getting more and more of the face. Okay. So let's see if I can do this here without missing too much color. Huh, that worked. Awesome. I like doing some of these shapes a little early, which in this case it probably is a little early. But it helps a lot seeing a lot of the shapes and knowing, okay, hey, all I have to do to fix this is move some stuff around. If you do this at a very high subdivision level, it's always a pain, so we can see this is probably the worst mesh ever. But we're already getting some of our shapes in. Indicating the bottom lip section here, and if you can see, okay, so this distance between top lip and nose is a lot shorter in the reference than I have. Now's a great time to go in and change this as well. So we can grab this. So now, soften that a bit, grab the move tool, move that up a bit, rotate that back a bit. Right there, awesome. Okay, now I moved this back, but I did not move the chin. So now it looks like David Leno. So subdivision. Make sure everything still looks the same. We wanted it to. Okay, now we do have some area to clean up, but it is looking closer to what we are wanting to do, which is awesome. Now the next thing is difficult. Yes, that makes so much better. Okay. Some of this stuff is easy to clean up. Okay. And if you see, actually that underlying lip, it's kind of already putting in for us, which is awesome. Okay. Now, next step would be to go in and add proper features to this, but this is already going into almost medium shapes. Okay. So at this stage, let's double check and make sure that our jawline is right and looks good. No, it doesn't. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing is that he doesn't have a dimple in his chin. And I clearly gave him one, so I'm going to pull this forward a bit. It was up a bit. And then right here, and pull this out as well. There we go. Alright, so now every time I subdivide, you can see we're getting cleaner and cleaner shapes. At some point, now might be a good idea. Now might be a good time, but I haven't done anything with my eyes, right? So at some point, we will want to come in and Z-remesh this to get a cleaner mesh. Okay. I always leave that for last for me. That's me. And you can do that any point in time. Like I could remesh right now and keep working on this, and it would be totally cool. Go at the bottom of the consciousness. Always nice to come in. Once again, draw on your model so you can see what needs to go where and how thick things need to be, because this top lip is probably too thick for me. But you won't know until you play around with it. Yep, wrong one again. Please don't forget to check your model, top and bottom. See, we have a little bit too much of a flat shape right there. I'm going to want to change that. So let's go ahead and go to lower. Slightly pull that back right there. We still have that slight, too much of a straight angle. Let's go ahead. Bow to it, bow to it. Go. So this stuff right here will get cleaned up when you do your remeshing. You can go ahead and clean it up now. I'm going to do it because I like seeing my stuff a little cleaner before I go ahead and do my seed remeshing, because then I can always protect my detail back. Is it a good workflow to do? It depends on you personally. I like working like this, but then again, so I'm going to go in and touch up on some of these shapes that were bugging me before. Clean out everything. Go. And we still have this turned up smile thing. It won't go away until we go to a lower subdivision level and slightly adjust the mesh. Pick the wrong tool. Let it go down. And there's that pitch down. Awesome. Okay. Now we can start going in, fully fleshing out our detail shapes, fully fleshing out the rest of our eyes, all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm noticing I'm getting a little bit too much of a Sharpie point, or a sharp point right here. And according to this, I should be getting a wider highlight. So let's go ahead and adjust that right around here. There we go. It didn't change too much on our 3/4, which is a good thing. And it's just enough to hint on the underlying structure. Okay. Now I still see some areas here that need to be addressed. We're just not flowing with what the reference is showing us. That has sort of that bend I don't like. Now, at some point, I recommend before you Z-remesh, actually, Z-remeshing would probably be the best thing, the best spot to do it, is to make sure that your head is the proper width for what you're doing. Wrong tool again. Once again, don't forget, after all that blocking out, double check. Back of the head, very important. Okay, we can even drop some of this right here if we wanted to. But overall, this should be curving in towards the bottom of the ears. Go. Okay, that's a little too far out. And please look at your reference. So some references will see this curve, and we'll see the different plates on each side. The inside will be a little bit curvy. Some of them don't have it, some of them do. With someone with such a strong jawline, it either will be a straight line or it will be a slightly lance this way, and it will run between here and there. Okay, kind of like a Superman type of jawline. So if we were mimicking this, this would have to be straight or a little bit past straight to get that nice dominant jawline, and then from here we'd want this nice taper going, which we have slightly already started. So we can push this in a little bit more. And right in here also, right about there, slightly giving this a bit more of a tweak. So we still have the nice 3/4. I am seeing that now we have a little bit more of an angle right here, which we don't have right there. That's totally cool. That's indicating that this is actually further back. So grabbing the move tool, So in this being with the line, it is going away from it. And now we have that nice curve within our 3/4. Okay. Now we can go back up. Now here would be a great time to Z-remesh. If you have added eyes, which in that case I sadly have. So just go ahead and trim those off. Set the one. Now this eye is definitely too big for my overall head. So let's go ahead and adjust this. Right here, sweet. We will want to make sure that we have 5 with the ears. Okay? So let's go ahead and push this into the middle. Okay. Duplicate this. Let's see how we did. Whoa. Turn it off. There we go. Duplicate. Okay, so here's a great indicator that this eye is either A, too small, too big for the head, or B, our head's too big for the eye. I'm going to go with the latter and make my eye the proper size before I do anything else. So let's go ahead and delete this one as well. Go back to the eye shape itself. And there we go. It's smaller. Nope. Damn it. Let's see if we can get this on the first try right. I doubt it. Just not having that time of day. Okay, so based off of this, the eye needs to be a little bigger. I knew it. So let's go ahead and remedy that. Hopefully this will do it. Duplicate. Yes. Duplicate. Maybe not. I need it. Right. Alright. It would help if my okay. Score. So now that we have the right shape for the eye, we can place it in the right spot for the head. Okay, so we are probably going to be looking for something in this direction. Maybe a little bit inward, and maybe a little upward. Okay. Now we can sculpt out our eye shape. We can draw it in, move it. Any of those are absolutely valid. And there's some other more techniques that you could do as well. Okay. So I'm noticing that some of these muscle structures here need some love, but like I said earlier, that can be done after the remeshing when you start actually doing your detail. And this shape needs to be adjusted. Not menacing. And then we have these shapes right here. And that's how that's going to come together. That's awesome. Okay. Now we have this underlying skin. Now's a great time to go in and add that. That's going to come across. Okay. Well, you can. Really, I can't. Okay. Corner of the eye out. Establish shape, going in. Shape. Alright. Here. Okay. So please keep in mind that when you do the eye, that this should not be straight. Okay? It's going to curve around the ball. So if you're at this stage, sometimes it's easier to do this so you can work on the bottom and then the top. And then go down in subdivision as well. Start pulling on this. Awesome. So it's already creating this small little pocket for us, which is phenomenal. Just a bit. It's in the right spot. Now we even have the underlying eye pocket shape, the cheek shape. So I'm going to adjust this as well. And I'm going to have to do some adjustments here in a second. Alright, let's do the same thing with the inside of the eye. So I can pull this. Nope. Wrong tool. Go. Pull this forward a bit. He looks to have a sharp angle here because of this angle right there, so that's what I'm going to be going after. So this is going to happen before the color of the eye. There, so this is a little bit more. I normally do my eyes differently, and I'll give you guys a link to how I normally do my eyes. It makes things a little easy for me. So last look through. Make sure you do that. Okay. And like I said, remember the eye is round, so I'm clearly not doing a great job with that. So, roll wrong brush out here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to stop right here, even though there's still some cleanup to do and there's some striations and stuff. But let me know if this was interesting for you guys. Okay. So we got more than just the medium shapes in. The nose isn't finished. The lips isn't finished. So we got roughly just the medium shapes done so far. Okay. But it looks close to our reference. There's still some tweaks on the nose that I would like to do. I make some tweaks overall in the face. It looks like his face is a little longer than mine, which could be very easily fixed by just grabbing this and elongating, or grabbing a move brush and hoping for the best. Grab here, here, just a bit. Looks like I can probably get it that way. Okay. Alright guys, like I said, hope you guys liked it, and any feedback